Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the previous lesson, we took, what did we take? Who can we ask? Alam Ghair. What did we take last week?
The two things we took in the Fiqh of Salah, the start timing of Salah, definition, start time of Salah, and the recommended time of Salah. So definition is...
Don't worry about definition. Did anybody go at Dhuhr, at noon to go and measure the shadow? Was there a shadow or there was no shadow where you live? Anybody go to measure or not? Huh?
It was only cloudy while I lived there.
It was only cloudy, so you didn't measure. Anybody else measure? Tomorrow, remember to measure. Remind one another to measure, otherwise we won't have a new lesson. You must go and measure.
I didn't measure, but I noticed, because I was outside today at noon, and I noticed there was like no shadow.
No, I want you
Barely
to
any
measure.
shadow.
Not barely. I want to know, is there a shadow or there's a small shadow? I want to know, is there no shadow or there's a small shadow? One of the two. And the only way,
There was a
hold
small
on,
shadow.
hold on. The only way you'll know is if you go and try and you go intentionally to measure, not just look at a building or a tree or something and say now there's a shadow. So inshallah tomorrow you guys go to measure. Okay. One question I want to ask you. Who's here from England? Alam Ghair. In the summer in London, when Isha is late, past 9 o'clock, and Fajr is very early, and the red doesn't set, meaning the sky is still red. Give me the two opinions in the Hanafi madhab. What do they say? What's the first opinion?
The first one is when the red twilight, when it ends, and the second one is that when the
I'm talking about Isha and Witr. I'm not talking about Maghrib. Carry on.
So the Isha, yeah. So Isha, we can read up till Subh Sadiq, true dawn.
No, hold on. Muhammad Yasin. There's one mas'ala we took, and they said that if the red doesn't disappear in some places all the way up to Fajr, what do they do? Muhammad Yasin.
Yes, Sheikh. So they take the timings from the nearest place where they have.
Tell me the two opinions inside the madhab.
Some say you need not to pray. Some say you don't have Isha prayer, and some say you can take the nearest.
Some say there's no Isha and Witr prayer because there's no time for it. Some say, and the others say, no, you make ijtihad for a time, you look at the closest place. So I just want you to know that that is an opinion in the madhab, but I think the practice of the people now, there's nobody who skips Isha even in those places. Everybody reads 5 times a day. Anyway, this one more mas'ala I didn't take in that chapter, and then we're moving on to the next chapter. The first is, or the mas'ala I didn't take is awqatun nahi. So there's certain times where it's not permissible or prohibited to perform salah in those times. Okay? Called awqatun nahi. First is whilst the sun is rising. Okay? Sunrise, I'll put an R there. So as the sun is rising, a person can't go and read any nafil salah. Why? As in some hadith, the Messenger says it arises between the two horns of shaitan. Another hadith is speaking about people who worship the sun. That's the time to worship the sun. 2 is exactly at noon. Okay, so when the sun is at its hottest points. That's why we talk about zawal. Zala means to move. So once it's moved a little bit, roughly 3-4 minutes, and now it's moved and there's a bit of a shadow, that's when you read your Dhuhr Salah, or any nafil you want to read. And 3 is at sunset. So while the sun is setting, you're not allowed to read any nafil salah, any voluntary salah, unless it's the fard salah of the day, okay? And then they add, so when it comes to this timing, let's say let's say sunrise is 6 a.m., okay? And sunset is 6 p.m. And noon is 12. Noon, because it's so short, it's only a few minutes, so you don't read anything at noon. Before and after, about 10 minutes before and a few minutes after, you can read whatever salah you want to read in terms of nafil or if you've missed any salah. As for here, in the morning, let's say a person read Fajr at 5 a.m., okay? 5 a.m. they read Fajr. They're not allowed to read any other nafil or any other voluntary salah after Fajr, okay? No voluntary salah after Fajr until the sun has risen more than a spear, i.e. about 10 to 15 minutes, differs from place to place. Okay, so here sunrise is waqtun nahi. This is, some ulama say, this is not the madhab, but I'll tell you anyway. Some ulama say here there's a very severe waqtun nahi. What's the severe time? The severe time is when the sun is actually rising and when the sun is actually setting and when the sun is at noon. That is severe nahi. And then they go further to say, if you've read your Fajr, between Fajr and the sunrise, there's no Salah. It's also waqt nahi. And if you read your Asr, let's say at 5 p.m., then between 5 and 6, there's no nafil Salah. So if a person comes and says, okay, I want to read 2 nafil to thank Allah after having read Asr, then no. Okay? So that's waqtun nahi. And then we'll take later on in terms of Tahiyyatul Masjid, etc. Do you read in those times or you don't? So that's the last mas'ala in the previous chapter. Then the new chapter, inshallah, we're taking today is Babul Athaan. Athaan, the call to prayer, as we all know. The ruling of Athaan in the Hanafi madhab is it is sunnah. Sunnah means not compulsory. So if somebody had to read Salah, or people had to have a congregation and read Salah without having made Adhan, then they've left out a Sunnah. The Salah is still correct. What is this Adhan for? Any of you ever heard Adhan on the Eid prayer? No. Janazah Salah? No. Eclipse Salah? No. So what's Adhan for? Adhan is for the 5 daily Salah. So that's a 5 in Arabic. 5 daily Salah plus the Jumu'ah. Even though the Jumu'ah comes at the time of Dhuhr, they just mention it. Why? So people don't think Jumu'ah is like Eid and Salatul Kusuf and Khusuf, eclipse. So only for the 5 plus Jumu'ah. What's it? Sunnah. For who? For the men. Lirijal. Okay? So if there's a group of women, and they tell somebody you must go make adhan, you say no, it's for them is not even sunnah in the Hanafi madhab. Okay? Sunnah, 5 salah plus Jumu'ah for the men. Then, when it comes to the actual adhan, there's different hadith that describe the adhan. And they have different, not different wordings, but different methods. Adhan and iqamah. The Hanafi madhab, they take the adhan, Allahu Akbar, right? And then again, and then when it comes to Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is twice. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, twice. Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah, and you turn to the right side. Okay? Hayya ala salah, you turn to the right side. Your face turns, not your feet. So your body turns without your feet turning. Hayya ala al-falah, Hayya ala al-falah, to the right side, to the left side. And you, whilst you make that adhan again, your feet don't move. Then, whilst you're making adhan, Allahu Akbar, and then La ilaha illallah. So if a person had to make adhan, that's how they start off. Few things to remember. In the adhan, it's recommended for a person to go slowly and take their time. Recommended for a person to go slowly and take their time. Now, in the other madhahib, when it comes to adhan, sure, in the Maliki madhab, I don't know I don't know about the Shafi'i madhab, definitely not in the Hanbali madhab. They have something called tarji'. Tarji' is where the muadhin, at certain words, where he says them softly first, and then he repeats them. He says them softly, and then he says them loudly. So in the Hanafi madhab, when you read in the books and they tell you there's no tarji', that's what they're talking about. So you make the adhan one time and loudly. Okay. Also, what's important to mention is at the time of Fajr, after Hayya ala al-Falah, Hayya ala al-Falah, a person, what do they say? Muhammad Yasin? As-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. Yes, they say it twice. As-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. Salah is better than sleep. So if we go through the adhan quickly, person it's recommended again for them to be in a state of wudu, facing the Qibla. Notice how when it comes to adhan, Hanafi madhab says it's encouraged. But if a person had to make adhan without wudu, the adhan is still valid, is permissible. Adhan. Okay? Person stands up, they preferably in a high place so they can be heard. In the old days, today we have microphones, and they say that you put your fingers in your ears so that you're able to speak or shout louder. Your voice is able to be louder. When a person starts Allahu Akbar while taking their time, and Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. Also notice there's two ways to say. Either you say, in fact, three ways. Either you say Allahu Akbar, stop, Allahu Akbar. And again, Allahu Akbar, stop, Allahu Akbar. Or you say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The ra has a dhamma. Or you can also say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The ra has a fatha. Ola, correct. Okay? Then, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Bear witness, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. Repeats again, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Then, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. I bear witness, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. Again, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Then, Hayya ala salah. Come to the salah, come to the prayer. Hayya ala salah, come to the prayer. Hayya ala al-falah, come to success. Hayya ala al-falah, come to success. If it's Fajr, as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. As-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. If it's not Fajr, immediately Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. That's the adhan. No one worthy of worship except Allah. Then there's a way to reply the muadhin, inshallah, we'll take it. There's a dua after the adhan, inshallah, we'll take it. Thereafter, when it's time to establish the actual salah, we make iqamah. Now, iqamah in the Hanafi madhab, it's almost the same like adhan. So, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. They repeat twice. The other madhahib, 1-1-1. So, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala al-falah. That's why you'll hear differences. They all have their hadith. And then, what you add in the adhan after Hayya ala al-falah, then you say, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ. The prayer has been established, meaning the congregation has stood up now. Salah is ready to be performed. قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ. Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Also, they say that in the iqamah, it's recommended for the person making the iqamah to recite it quickly. So the adhan, he can take his time. The iqamah, quickly. Also, person making iqamah is recommended for him to be in a state of wudu, because after the iqamah, the salah is established. If he doesn't have wudu, he's going to delay the salah. Okay? Did you understand? Did you understand?
Yes, Sheikh.
Yes, sir.
Then they give you a mas'ala to say that if a person missed some salah, okay, let's say you miss your salah, they still encourage him to make adhan and to make iqamah. Is encouraged to make adhan and make the iqamah. And notice how at the beginning we said in the Hanafi madhab is sunnah. Sunnah for who? Sunnah for the men. And we'll take the other madhahib and we'll take the iqamah. And there's different ways of making the adhan in terms of wording. Also in the Hanafi madhab, the muadhin after Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Isha, he can take his time, give the people time for Sunnah, etc. But after Maghrib, generally, as we mentioned previously, they make Iqamah immediately. A few moments and they make Iqamah. Understood?
Understood.
Any questions? Ask.
Sheikh, in India, they recite salawat upon Rasulullah Sallam before the adhan. Is it allowed to do?
They recite what?
Salawat on Rasulullah Sallam.
Meaning?
They recite salawat on Rasulullah Sallam.
Durud Sharif.
Yeah,
Durud
Durud,
Sharif.
but how?
They just start with salawat and then they finish it, then they go with adhan.
The adhan or the iqamah are you talking about?
Before Athaan,
For
Sheikh, he said.
Before what?
adhan.
Before adhan.
Yes, Sheikh.
I don't know of anything to say you make
In our locality it starts with like Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi aliyyil azim. Then Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. Then they start with the adhan loudly. They differentiate the salawat and the adhan by the loudness. The adhan will be more louder and in a tune.
After the adhan, then there's a person can read the salawat as well as the dua of adhan. Before the adhan, I don't know anything, any adhkar or any salawat that are read before that. I don't know. People have different things.
Sheikh,
in different places.
that's also common in Pakistan. One group of Ahnaf, they do it. You know, they read the Asrat wa Sarat. They read some durud, something. One group of Ahnaf in Pakistan also do it.
I don't know. It's the first time I remember once when I went to America, and one day before iftar they were making Maghrib adhan, but then they started reading salawat. I think I remember something like that. That's the first time I've seen it. I've never seen it. So yeah, I don't know of anything authentic to show that, or to say you read adhkar before the adhan. I don't know anything like that.
Sheikh.
Yeah.
Regarding the tarjih, is it simply not there in the Hanafi madhab, or will it be deemed makruh?
Regarding what?
The tarjih.
Tarjih. No, they say no. Do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
There's no tarjih. Yeah, no tarjih for me. No tarjih. Maliki madhab has tarjih. I remember when we were
they do it like two times for the Shadu la ilaha illallah, 2 times Shadu Muhammad Rasulullah.
Softly, like
yeah.
la ilaha illallah. Yeah, they do it. But in the Hanafi madhab, the others they don't do it.
The first takbir is 2 times. Yeah, in the Maliki madhab.
Yeah. What else?
Sheikh, after adhan, when we the masnoon dua is to read the durud and then the dua after adhan.
Look, during the adhan, there's some du'as to read. Okay. So Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, you answer as is, Allahu Akbar, Allah. And Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you answer Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, you answer Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Then After Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, okay, there's one hadith that says if a person says وأشهد أن رضيت بالله ربا ومحمد رسولا وبالإسلام دينا وبالإسلام دينا ومحمد رسولا, then he should say that. Now, they differ as to when he should say that. Some of the scholars mention straight after the Shahadatain. So after he says أشهد أن محمد رسول الله, the person says وأشهد أن رضيت بالله ربا ومحمد رسولا وبالإسلام دينا. Thereafter حي على الصلاة, the muadhin is telling you come to salah. You can't tell him حي على الصلاة, you come to salah. No, he says لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. No change from condition to condition, no strength except by the permission of Allah. حي على الفلاح, same thing. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. As for الصلاة خير من النوم, most authentic, Wallahu A'lam, is to also say as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. Some people say sadaqta wa bararta, but I don't know if that being warid. Rather you say as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm also. And then Allahu Akbar, then La ilaha illallah. Then a person, they read the dua of some read the durut, so you can say Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad, and Allahumma rabba hadhihi ad-da'wati at-tamma was-salati al-qa'imah ati Muhammadan al-wasilata wal-fadilah wa ba'ath maqaman mahmudan alladhi wa'adtah. And then if he's got any other dua to make or any sunan to read, he reads.
And Sheikh, some people will raise their hands while doing this dua, and some will raise their hands and some will not raise their hands. What is authentic?
Wallahu, I don't know. Some people they read the dua, but then they making their own dua. You understand?
Okay.
I understand.
Because I haven't seen scholars raising hands, but I see some people raising hands.
I understand what you say. Yeah, carry on.
I read in the Mukhtasar Quduri one last thing that was added to this chapter of Adhan, that the Adhan, the call for prayer, is not to be done before the entry of its time, except for Fajr, according to Abu Yusuf.
And he said that's the practice of the Haramain.
Tamam, Sheikh.
Inshallah, we'll stop there. I'll look for in the other books for any other small masail, if there is to do with Adhan. Then inshallah, we'll move on to the next. So for now, you guys are taking the masail. Then after that, inshallah, hopefully the next 1-2 months we'd have finished Adhan. So you'd have got a good idea of